In one corner, Joey Gallo. This Las Vegas slugger is known to deliver some of the longest home runs in the game today. Deep out to right field, it is gone! Demolishing baseballs with a power punch. In the other corner, Chris Davis. This Californian has landed plenty of haymakers against the Rangers. Well-struck ball off to the left, and that one is gone, putting them down and out. A two-run blast for Chris Davis. This home run duel is a heavyweight title bout.
Well, we're excited to see the heavy hitters in this one, the Oakland A's and the Texas Rangers. Oakland off to a nice 500 start. The Rangers hoping to build on a win in the series finale yesterday against the Mariners. Welcome in, everybody. We're ringside tonight here at Globe Life Park. I am Dave Raymond alongside Mr. Ranger Tom Grieve. Should be fun. First of three here against Oakland. Now, we've already seen them 4 times this year, and that was in Oakland. Really interesting time to go back and remember just how close that series was.
Yeah, you know, Dave, you go back a couple of years, and they've been very evenly matched. The Rangers own a 20-18 advantage since 2016. If you go back to early in the season, the first series, each team won a couple of games in Oakland, dominated a little bit by the pitching. Each team scored 13 runs. The Rangers' ERA was a little bit better than Oakland, both of them right at 3 or lower. For the A's, Jed Lowry had a terrific series, and he's had a terrific start to the season. In this series, left-handed, right-handed, he hit the ball all over the ballpark. He went 6 for 15 and knocked in 5 runs. You look at what that was a springboard to, is an excellent start for the season. He's hit .351 so far. That's 6th in Major League Baseball. He's knocked in 23 runs. That's tied for 1st in Major League Baseball. For the Rangers, Nomar Mazara hit the ball well in Oakland. He was 7 in 14. Not a lot of production. He didn't drive in a run. That was a double. Go back to last season, though. Here's a game against the A's where he not only homered, he also drove in 6 runs. In fact, for the season last year, he drove in 18 runs against the A's. 2 offensive players for each team who will be counted on heavily to produce in this series starting tonight.
Okay, now one guy we did not see when we were in Oakland earlier, but the Rangers have seen a lot of over the years, Trevor Cahill getting the start.
Trevor Cahill was a second-round draft choice, highly touted young kid who got to the big leagues very quickly. In 2009, he was only 21 years old. Over 3 years, he won 40 games for the A's. He was traded to Arizona, pitched pretty well as a starter for Arizona, then transitioned to a reliever 2015-2016, where he had excellent results with the Chicago Cubs. Had a hard time finding a job. He didn't sign with the A's this year until well into spring training. He actually started the season in the minor leagues, but he's coming off a really good first start, trying to add to that tonight against the Rangers.
Well, the Rangers will counter with Matt Moore. Now, he's coming off his best start of the year in Tampa, and it wasn't even close. We'll put that start and Matt Moore in our spotlight when we come back. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas.
Well, they head in early tonight on a Monday evening, the opening game of this series against the Oakland A's. Beautiful night for baseball here in Arlington, and we teased it before the break. Matt Moore coming off easily his best start of the year. It was a return home for him in our Shiner Box Spotlight, squarely on the left-hander as he makes another start tonight. Hopes to repeat what he was able to do back at the Trop. 7 innings, no earned runs, the 6 strikeouts, not even close when you compare it to his first 3 starts, Tom.
Yeah, and I think we're going to show some video from that start, 4 or 5 of his pitches, and you'll see his fastball is located much better. Inside corner, outside corner, and he threw more cutters in this game, 17 of them to be exact, and he had excellent success with it. He talked about earlier in the season, before the season, that he was going to go more to his fastball and curveball and not throw as many cutters. But depending on the team, depending on the circumstances, he's not going to abandon that pitch. And in that particular game, he had good success with it. So it'll be interesting to see, Dave, how much he uses it tonight.
He is set to go, and let's take a look at the lineup that he will see from the Oakland A's tonight. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, leading it off. Stephen Piscotty, Jed Lowry, the hottest bat in there, and Chris Davis, who has surged lately. Matt Chapman at third, Matt Olson at first, Canna in center, Pinder at left, and Jonathan Lucroy doing the catching. So we're all set, and now we're underway with strike 1 to Marcus Semien. 266 average for Semien, a couple of homers, 12 RBIs. And he lifts this one out to center field. Hanging up there long enough for DeShields, one away.
We'll take a look at the arsenal for Matt Moore. What kind of pitches does he favor? Throws his fastball a little more than half the time. He'll throw a curveball, a changeup. For the season total, he's thrown only 4% cutters, although last start he used it a little bit more. We'll kind of monitor the situation as the game goes on to see how much he's using it in this game. A little good fastball at 93 miles an hour, nicely located on the outside corner. Now, when a pitcher is struggling, it's fairly safe to say that he hasn't had the command that he wants with his pitches. If a big league pitcher throws his pitches where he wants to, he's generally going to have pretty good success.
Big swing and a miss, and he's ahead of Piscotty here, 1-2.
Take a look at the cutter usage that we were talking about. Only 4 and 3 in his first 2 starts, and then in the teens in his last 2 starts. So he talked last year about his cutter maybe taking away from the velocity of his fastball, and as he came to spring training, made the point that he might use it a little bit less, try to concentrate on getting the velocity back on his fastball and featuring his curveball. But in the last 2 starts, he's gone to it maybe a little more than he intended. And with the result of that pitch, you might see it a little more tonight. That was a good cutter. That's exactly what it's designed to do. Get in on the fist. That little late movement hits the batter right off the handle. So that was good success. Pitched exactly where he wanted. Started out on the inside corner. Then it cuts 4 or 5 inches off the plate. And the result is that Stephen Piscotty hit the ball right off the handle.
So 2 outs in the air for Matt Moore, and now we'll deal with Jed Lowry. And Lowry offering at the first pitch he sees, sends that one up into the seats. Now the switch hitter Lowry off to an incredibly good start for Oakland. And of course, this is a guy who has been known for his offense, switch hitting middle fielder, but 3rd in the American League in average, tied for 6th in homers, leads in RBIs. And it's 1-1. Lowry, in fact, 8th in the league with a slugging percentage over 600. Well, let's just pile on. More great numbers for Lowry. And of course, you know, this is that time of year where you'll see a guy get off to a fantastic start. But for the first 22 team games in A's history, well, at least since 2008, you can see Lowry is OPS, on base plus slugging. The only guy better. Coco Crisp, Stephen Vogt, and himself a couple years ago.
I had to pick the A with the best numbers that we just put up there. It would not have been Coco Crisp, even though he put up nice numbers. I wouldn't have expected him to have the slugging percentage.
This ball hit high in the air out to right center field. DeShields going way back, and he'll have to take this one off the fence. So Lowry into second with a 2-out double, and his nice run continues.
You know, Lowry, you wouldn't look at Lowry as a power hitter. Doesn't hit a large amount of home runs, but this guy hits a lot of doubles, and he has excellent power, both left-handed and right-handed, to the opposite field. And here's a great example of it. Lowry's hitting almost 380 against left-handed pitching, and he drives that ball to right center field over Delino's head for a double. Last year he had 49 doubles, so it's not a fluke that he's off to this kind of start. And the Rangers saw him in Oakland go 6 for 15.
Chris Davis lofts one out to Mazzara, and we can take a little break. Anytime Davis retired, it's a nice lift. Scoreless top of the first. Delino will lead it off for the Rangers. Now the Rangers 8-15. Let's take a look at the lineup that Jeff Bannister runs out there tonight. DeShields up top, Chu following him as the DH. In the middle, it'll be Mazzara, Adrian Beltre, and Joey Gallo. Profar short, Chirinos catching, Ronald Guzman at first, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, the second baseman, batting ninth. And there you see big Trevor Cahill, 6'4", 240 pounds, a 30-year-old right-hander. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
We'll take a look at Trevor Cahill's pitch arsenal. He throws 66% fastballs. Most of them are two-seam fastballs with a lot of sinking action to him. When he's on, his ball really tails down and into a right-hand hitter. He'll throw a curveball and a slider, but his second pitch is really his changeup, and it's a good changeup. Cahill's problem can be command, control. Sometimes he has a hard time commanding his sinker because it sinks so much. It sinks right out of the strike zone. But if he's locating that where he wants to, he should get a lot of ground balls and be tough to hit.
Had an odd journey last year, as you mentioned earlier. Very late addition to the A's this season. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Delino DeShields. Cahill, a guy who did not sign until March 19th. Made just 2 Cactus League appearances with Oakland, both of them in relief. DeShields on the ground to shortstop. Simeon is right there, and he hustles it over in time, 1 away.
Take a look at the Athletics defense in the outfield. Chad Pinder in left. Mark Canha, very versatile, playing center field. Stephen Piscotty is in right field. In the infield, it's young Matt Chapman. a Gold Glove candidate at a young age. Marcus Semien at shortstop. Jed Lowry's been so hot this year at second. Matt Olson is at first. And behind the plate, former Ranger Jonathan Lucroy.
Chu shows bunt.
We're talking about Mark Canha playing center field. It's unusual where you have a player like Canha, who's also a first baseman, who can play center field. It's a combination you don't see very often. It's not the only positions he can play. He plays other positions as well, but first base, center field, don't see that very often.
One and two, although I feel like we're starting to see more and more of these types of intriguing combinations. Take guys like Kiner Falefa and Robinson as an example. Drew Robinson, he played like center field and shortstop in that series in Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, Kiner Falefa could catch, play second or short.
I think if you go back a ways, players were groomed at a position in the minor leagues. Nice off-speed pitch, gets Chu. And then when they got to the big leagues, if that position wasn't available, then they may have learned to play another position. Utility players weren't groomed in the minor leagues like they are nowadays. Both Falefa and Drew Robinson played multiple positions in the minor leagues. Not that they weren't viewed as an everyday player, but they were viewed as players who could be very valuable at the big league level because of their versatility and the ability to play a lot of different positions. And more teams are doing that. One of the reasons is because you need usually 8 men in the bullpen, which in the American League can leave you with only 3 extra men. One of them has to be a catcher. One of them has to be able to play shortstop. And so it really helps if 1 or 2 of those guys can play more positions than that. And in Kiner Falefa's instance, adding catching to the middle infield positions really makes him versatile.
2-0 on Nomar Mazara, who we highlighted today in the open. Mazara had a great series in Oakland, though he did not drive in a run. Has 9 RBIs now on the year, and he takes a strike. It's 2-1.
Cahill, we mentioned he has a good changeup. There's a great example of it right there. Behind in the count, 2-0, fastball count, and he threw that nice changeup. Fastball's been 91 to 93, changeup 83, 84, right around in there. And generally, both of them have really good movement to them. Way more than average.
We got DeShields to ground out, struck out Chu, and now a full count on Mazara.
Same thing, 2-0 changeup. Count went to 3-1. He threw him another changeup. Fastball count. The hitter, you see the changeup grip, and you can see out in front of that pitch.
Ground ball right side, Lowry right there, and it's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first for Trevor Cahill. No score after 1.
And as we do, let's take a look at the Ranger defense, which is delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Gallo, DeShields, and Mazzara in the outfield. Beltre, Profar, Kiner Falefa, and Ronald Guzman. Watch that hit by pitch. Ronald Guzman at first, and Robinson Chirinos is behind the plate. That was Matt Chapman leading off the second inning. He'll take his base after that hit by pitch.
So Moore, who dealt with a base runner in the first inning, now has to contend with Chapman over there at first. 6, 7, and 8 hitters to follow now. Here is Matt Olson, 272 average. The Rangers have hit a batter now in 6 consecutive games. Olson with a good swing and lofts this one out there to deep center field. DeShields just enough room to make the catch for out number 1.
It's a good thing that ball was hit right there, because I think almost any other part of the ballpark it would have been off the wall or over. That's the deepest part of the ballpark. The 407 sign right to the left of the Ranger bullpen. It looked like Delino had to go right up into that little crevice to make that play. Olson had a nice swing at that ball. He just got underneath it. Marcus Semien hit a ball solidly that Delino caught in center, and Jed Lowry doubled to deep right center field. So several balls off the first 6 bats of the A's have been hit well to the outfield.
First pitch strike to Mark Canha. 333 average for him. Canha with a couple of home runs. So Moore, all of his outs so far have come in the air. I'll try and keep Chapman a little bit closer. Moore, 28 years old, 6'3", 210 pounds, and is offering a little bit low. 1-1 the count. And Moore, as we pointed out earlier, his 5th start of the season. And you can look at the overall numbers right now and maybe not be wowed by the 559 earned run average, but he had a couple of tough starts early. Seems to have been making some adjustments. Was a lot sharper his last time out. And there's a big breaking ball, just misses. 2-1. And you can look at his overall numbers and his record. Rangers have played well in his games, though. There's a swing and a miss. And Canha evens it up at 2-2.
So both pitchers behind in the count have utilized their changeup. Fastball count, you can generally tell that it's a changeup without looking at the velocity when you see a hitter swing like that. They've anticipated a fastball. The pitcher delivers it just like a fastball as far as his arm speed goes. It just comes in slower and frequently fools the hitter. Cahill really had a good changeup in the first inning.
Moore riding a little extra confidence lately. He was feeling really good going into that game in Tampa. 2-2. And another fly ball. This time it's Gallo. And there are 2 away. Everything in the air. All right, our Kubota power stats today. You look at Matt Moore early on, and this goes to a little bit what we're talking about. The first couple of starts, I mean, averaging almost 21 pitches per inning. But that last time out, much more effective, closer to 13 pitches per inning. And he needs one more out to get through this second inning, and this pitch will be number 20. Ground ball, that one through. So Pinder has the base hit. Chapman heads to third. So the first ball hit on the ground, and it gets through. Second hit of the night for Oakland.
Not a lot you can do on this kind of a ball. That looked like either a fastball or a cut fastball that kind of jammed Pinder. He just fought it off and hit that soft ground ball between first and second. So you can't determine where the ball is going to be hit. All you can help determine is the location of the pitch, and that was a pretty good pitch.
Just about drilled that guy, Matt Chapman, who went first to third. 19th time that Oakland has done that, and that's most in baseball. So they've been very good on the bases. As now Jonathan Lucroy takes a strike.
That's a good stat. It shows aggressive base running, good base running, probably a little bit of team speed. But going first to third, especially with less than 2 outs, makes a huge difference. First and third, no outs, double play, you get a run in. First and second, you don't get a run in. Sacrifice fly, so many different ways you can score. Going first to third is kind of an underrated stat.
Well, Chapman just 90 feet away now. Matt Williams, their third base coach. One. Lifted out to center field into Shields. Right there for it. So the inning is done. A's leave them on the corners. 1.5, no score. Adrian Beltre leading off as we come back. On the left side of your screen, you can see the beginnings of Globe Life Field. And Texas Live, it's going to be open later this summer. There's the first pitch to Adrian Beltre, taken for a strike. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. I was driving by there today, Tom, coming in, and then they got windows installed. Yeah. Stuff like that. Man, you could imagine people walking in and doing business in these places in a matter of weeks.
There've been a lot of hours spent getting that to this position. You look when they started and where they are, it's pretty unbelievable they could get this far.
In fact, there's going to be a job fair later this week here at the ballpark, as Texas Live is already doing some hiring. World-class dining, entertainment, hotel accommodations, a great outdoor pavilion. It's going to be awesome. Beltre goes down and shoots this one into right field. Piscotty is there, however, and there's one away.
Pretty well hit ball by Adrian when you consider where that pitch was. down and away, and how far he had to reach to make that kind of contact. Looked like a changeup that he threw down and away. You can see it dropping down. Adrian waited on it, reached for it, and hit it pretty solidly to right field. Yesterday he had a double down the left field line past the left fielder on a pitch that was about even with the tip of his hat. High fastball.
Oh, that's it.
Joey Gallo, you see the moderate shift.
You know, after he faked the bunt, Chapman moved in 2 or 3 feet, so it had some effect. Now he's moving back a little bit.
It's funny. I mean, that's just human nature, right?
Yeah, at least for one pitch he stayed there.
This is kind of draw you in, but then coaches tell you, like, no, we're staying with the numbers. Get back. 2-0, fouled away.
But Chapman is playing shortstop now. Usually the third baseman is over on the second base side of the bag, so not quite the same shift. And yesterday Seattle's outfield was shading Joey toward left field. Center fielder was over in left center. Today they're shading a little bit toward right center field. And again, a lot depends on the pitcher too, how you're going to pitch him.
Well, that one locked up Joey a little bit. 2-2. He reacted like he saw something different.
That's one of those pitches that tails back, and from a hitter standpoint, it's almost an unhittable pitch where it ended up down and in like that.
That looked a little bit like the Bartolo Colon fastball.
Yeah, that's what Bartolo does.
Okay, Hill 4 up, 4 down so far for him. He keeps trying to go in on Gallo. Joey's third in the American League with 7 home runs.
What the A's do when they shift, they've got Marcus Semien, the shortstop, is the one that's playing the second base position. Saw Robinson Cano playing way out in right field the other day.
And Gallo walks, 9th walk that he has drawn this year. All right, the next Texas Chili Company dollar hot dog tonight. It's going to be Wednesday. Final game of this series against the A's, coming out to Globe Life Park. You can enjoy ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972-RANGERS.
I heard you read this promo maybe a week and a half ago. CJ wasn't real happy with that mustard and ketchup look on that hot dog, if I remember
right. Yeah, the ketchup
Is that right?
seems to throw
You're
him
okay
up.
with it, though.
I'm okay with ketchup,
okay.
Absolutely. I guess that seems to be a real divisive issue for hot dog people.
Well, you know, first I thought CJ was laughing. Then after a while, it sounded like he was pretty serious about that. You can't put ketchup on a hot dog.
Can't do it. He won't have it. Now, I do.
I have to say, I'm more on CJ's side. I don't use ketchup on a hot dog, but I certainly don't begrudge anybody that does like it.
Profar takes a strike, 1-1 the count. But it really, I mean, it really does seem to rattle some cages. People get upset about it. And it's funny because that photo's got the ketchup on it. I've seen plenty of other photos where there seems to be ketchup on the dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a regional thing or what. That's just how I grew up. It was okay. Now there you go. And believe it or not, there is a hot dog in there somewhere.
Wow, that's got onions, cheese, jalapenos.
Better not be any ketchup. So if you
About a cup
you
of
can
chili.
put all that on there,
But
you
don't
can't put ketchup on. I don't
No.
get it. I don't understand why that matters.
Parents so many times have a hard time getting their kids to eat.
Yeah.
And so a hot dog is obviously very popular. If it takes ketchup to get a little boy or girl to eat,
Yep.
go for it.
Gallo with a lead over at first. And he'll draw a throw. Didn't have a huge lead. But Cahill wants to keep him close. And Gallo, though he has not attempted a stolen base yet this year, we certainly aware of the fact he can move. Big guy, but he runs well. And there he goes. And that one fouled away.
We'll do it again. Rangers, I think it was in Oakland in that 4-game series. The Rangers went like 0 for 5 in stolen bases. And from that series on, it's really been touch and go in terms of trying to run. But now again, with the A's in town, it looks like maybe they're willing to fire it up. The A's have allowed 16 stolen bases already this year. That's most in the American League. 2-2. Of course, Rangers very familiar with Jonathan Lucroy and his abilities behind the plate. He had the upper hand when we were out at the Coliseum. Profar swings and hits this one a mile in the air, but he got underneath it, and Piscotty will tuck that one away for out number 2.
Yeah, that's one of those balls as a hitter that you feel really good. You saw the ball, you had a great swing at it, you hit it right on the barrel of the bat. All he did was just barely get under that a little bit. Just a matter of whatever, a quarter of an inch between a fly ball or a home run.
So 2 gone now for Robinson Chirinos. Gallo going again. The throw down to second goes into center field. He'll hop up and head to third. So Gallo's first stolen base of the season, and he advances on the E2.
Joey had a pretty good jump, which forced Jonathan Lucroy to get rid of that ball as quickly as he possibly could to have any kind of a chance. And he wasn't able to do it accurately, and Lowry wasn't able to knock it down. And Joey just kept right on going. Another example of the tools that Joey Gallo possesses, which go well beyond the power.
So now he is just 90 feet away for Chirinos. And the count 1-1. And you can see the numbers for Chirinos, but it was a very, very slow start for him. And there's no question he's been a little streaky. And a double Saturday against the Mariners. That goes to 1-2. That put an end to an 0 for 13 skid for Robbie. So kind of a herky-jerky start to 2018 for him.
Well, Robinson has the ability to be an important part of the offense when you look at what he did last year. The home runs per at bat, on base percentage, worked a lot of walks. Hasn't gotten hot yet, but he will.
Strikes out to end the second inning. We've played 2 so far tonight. No score.
Trout, maybe the best player in baseball, lined that shot to right center field. That was his 9th home run of the season. Take a look at the leaders in that category, and it starts with Mike Trout. Charlie Blackmon following up a spectacular year with a great start. Bryce Harper hot to begin this year. Manny Machado hit a couple of home runs the other day. We were talking about Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, two stars who can be free agents, both putting up star numbers in April.
Top of the order here, Marcus Semien leading off the 3rd inning. Semien flied out to center field in the first. He's 0 for 1. No score. Just underway. And Moore has done a great job of the first 2 innings. 12 pitches in the first, 12 more in the 2nd inning. So a tad better than he was even down in Tampa. Lefties 1-2.
Boy,
right off the handle.
Another cut fastball. The last 2 pitches have both been cut fastballs, and early in the game to the right-hand hitters, he's been able to locate that right where he wants it. Starts it out on the corner, and then it cuts right back in off the plate enough to where the hitter has a hard time getting the barrel on the ball.
Sharp ground ball by third. Semien is on to start the 3rd inning. Good job by Gallo to get that back quickly and hold Semien to a single.
Yeah, the Rangers got a fortunate bounce. It hit the wall where it juts out toward left field and it carried right straight to Joey rather than going down in the corner where it would have been a double. That was a well located pitch on the inside corner. Just a nice job of hitting by Semien, who hit the inside pitch and kept it fair.
So now Piscotty popped up back of second base in the first inning. 0 for 1. The last 11 games for him. He was not hot when we saw Oakland for the first road trip of the year, but he has since turned things around quite a bit. From the Bay Area, came up with the Cardinals. Piscotty traded to Oakland. His mom lives nearby, and she has been fighting ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and it was kind of part of the thinking in the trade to Oakland that he could get a little closer to his family and help take care of his mom a little bit. St. Louis had some opportunities to move Piscotty different places. They said that was definitely a factor anyway in how they thought about the trade. 3-0. Oh, that's ball 4. So Piscotty draws the walk. First 2 men on here in the 3rd inning. Well, the Boston Red Sox will be headed to town in early May, May 3rd through the 6th. It's a 4-game series. We invite you to come out, watch the Rangers take on the Red Sox in this 4-game set. Could be a big 4 games. Great seats still available by going to TexasRangers.com or by calling 972 Rangers. Now the dangerous Jed Lowry. And you see his career numbers, 11 years in the big leagues, well traveled. He's been around. A couple of tours with Oakland, a couple with Houston, and a former Boston Red Sox himself. And he takes that one inside for a ball. The Oakland just got done with Boston. They hosted Boston out at the Coliseum, and Bob Melvin's crew, boy, quite a weekend out there.
Yeah, Oakland won 2 out of 3 and evened their record at 11-11. Sean Manaea threw a no-hitter.
This ball hit well out to left field, but right at Joey Gallo. One away.
Chris Davis hit a 3-run homer in the 8th inning off David Price to win the game yesterday. They played some nice baseball against the Red Sox. I guess the Red Sox were due to lose a game or two, but still, some team has to go out and do it. A lot of teams have had a chance to slow them down, but it was the A's that finally did it.
Well, you mentioned the home run by Davis, and that's just maybe comforting to Rangers fans that the Rangers aren't the only team against whom he homers. 6 home runs this year. That's 6th best in the American League. 19 RBIs. And he takes low.
When you look at that hot zone for Chris Davis, you would definitely favor the top of the strike zone, in, out, or middle, or the outside part of the plate. Definitely keep it away from the quadrant that's middle of the plate and in.
All right, so Tom, to the layperson, right? Somebody just flips on the TV. Maybe they're not a huge baseball fan. They see all those zeros. Well, it's pretty simple.
If he hits 0 there, then why don't you throw it there every time? Good question. I've heard big league pitchers can throw the ball right where they want to. Yeah. So why don't you do that?
This one fouled to the right side.
Well, I have to admit, even as something a little more than a layperson when it comes to baseball, I find myself saying the same thing.
Well,
all right. It seems pretty easy. He hits 0 there. So if you throw it there, you should have the better chance to get him out. I really can't come up with an answer to explain why you don't throw every pitch there.
Semien and Piscotty out there, and Davis shanks another one foul. 2-2. One out here in the 3rd inning. Every out recorded has been in the air for Moore.
The other thing, it's a little bit of a small sample too. You know, for all we know, I don't know if it's 0 for 14. It could be 0 for 1 in each spot. So a little bit of a small sample.
Moore,
I can't imagine he's hitting 0 in any part of the strike zone against the Rangers. He's hit 18 home runs and knocked in 38 runs in 41 games against the Rangers.
Right, you tend not to trust any of those things when you see what he's done against Texas. 2-2. Oh, good. Just a bit wide. It's a full count. Well, that's where he wanted to put it. Maybe an inch or so further off the plate than he wanted. Yeah, look at those career numbers in 41 games. Man, he has been an awfully tough out. It's this ball hard over 3rd, and that is a fair ball. Semien was running. He'll score easily. Piscotty waved all the way from 1st, and that's a 2-run double by Chris Davis, and Oakland starts the scoring tonight.
I'm sure we'll get another look at it. It didn't look like that bad of a pitch. It was up a little bit, but it looked like it was inside corner. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, that pitch is off the plate inside. Looked like a cut fastball. I think he threw it right where he wanted to. I think Davis hit it a little bit toward the handle, but he was able to keep that fair. Generally on that kind of a pitch, if you make contact, you would pull it foul. But in this game, both Davis and Marcus Semien have each hit pitches in this inning, as a matter of fact, just like that, down the left field line for a single and a double. I think if you're Matt Moore, all you can say is I actually threw it the way I wanted to and where I wanted to. But Chris Davis just got the better of it in that at bat.
He's out at 2nd. Chapman, who was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning, takes high. It's 2-0. Haven't seen a strike yet. So Moore flinches first. And his 2-0 pitch. And there's the outside corner, 2-1. And his first win of the season, and as a Ranger, his last start on Tuesday at Tampa, his first quality start with the Rangers. And this is tonight 5 days rest for him, so a little extra recovery time for Moore. 2-2 the count. Rangers have, as a general rule, kind of worked it in such a way as to accommodate Mike Minor to get him extra days here and again. But it's also worked out. The guys like Moore and some others are also picking up extra days. The one guy who they continue to keep on a tighter rotation has been Cole Hamels. And here's Hamels. He will start tomorrow. Chapman swings and misses. That strike three. First strikeout tonight for Moore. All right, that gives us a chance to take a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Rick Renner.
First baseman Matt Olson.
All right, thanks, Rick. Yankees starting to play a little better baseball. Right as the Red Sox, as you pointed out, Tom, dropped 2 of 3 in Oakland last weekend. First pitch to Olson, a little bit low. Of course, Boston got out to the ridiculous start. It's going to make it tough on everybody, but it's only had a 4-game lead in the division over Toronto. Yankees were 5.5 back. Would you be willing at this point to side with one team or another in the American League East? Do you feel like you have a sense for who's got the most talent there?
You know, you're tempted to just go with what you see right now, but from past experience and knowing how long a 162 game season is and the turns it can take, I'd be reluctant to stick my neck out right now, even though Boston has that big lead.
I mean, really,
I'd be shocked if the Yankees finish behind Toronto.
I will be too, although I would say that when we saw Toronto,
their starting pitching is pretty good.
They looked all right. This one down the third baseline, foul. Olson flied out of the second inning. He's 0 for 1.
Now, Gary Sanchez was hitting below 100 for 30+ at bats. Giancarlo Stanton really hasn't gotten hot yet. They've got a couple of really good young rookie players. It just seems like as time goes on, once that offense starts to gel, it could be a lot like Houston, not like the Red Sox as far as scoring runs go.
Moore laboring a little bit here in the third inning. This will be his 27th pitch in the third. And his third 3-ball count of the inning. A swing and a foul tip. Trinos might want to walk that one off. We were talking earlier about guys' versatility defensively, and see Chirinos take that foul tip and sort of underscores how difficult that position is and how hard it is to stay healthy in that spot. You see Isaiah Kiner-Falefa in the big leagues now, currently playing an everyday second base, but he is a catcher now. Kiner-Falefa, he's added that in the last couple of years to his repertoire in order to make himself a more valuable big league commodity.
Yeah, I just think that if you have catching on your resume and you're able to play the middle infield, and you're a solid offensive player who can make good contact, you know how to play the game, all the things that as a young player it looks like Isaiah is able to do, it just appears to me that you have the chance to have a nice long big league career because of that versatility.
We just saw there 22 different catchers who've started games since 2009 for the Rangers.
Wow.
And the reason we chose 2009 is because it was opening day 2009 that Elvis Andrus took over as the everyday shortstop here, and he's taken occasional days off just to get off his feet, but by and large plays every single day. And so if you're a middle infielder coming up in the minor leagues and you're going to play shortstop, well, not really. Not if Elvis is there. But in the same time that Elvis has held that position down all these years, well, 22 different guys have started behind the plate.
So there is opportunity at that position for obvious reasons.
It's funny how things change. If you go back years into Ranger history, you'll see a 10-year period where Jim Sundberg caught virtually every game for the Rangers. He caught over 140 games in many years. And we just showed Pudge a 10-year period where Pudge did virtually the same thing. And then look at how many shortstops there were during the tenure of Sonny and Pudge. And it was probably the exact same thing in reverse.
Full count here. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat for Olson.
In fact, one of our shortstops was the first athlete in the Metroplex to make $1 million in one season. A Ranger shortstop, the first athlete in the Metroplex to make $1 million in one season.
Who was that?
Scott Fletcher.
Is that right?
And think about the other athletes who played for other teams.
Well, this one popped up left side of the infield. Beltre is there, and he puts it away. The inning is done, but Oakland gets the first 2 runs of the night. We've played 2.5 so far this evening. And you look at the RBIs over the last 5 games for the Rangers and how they spread them out. Chu leading the way with 5, but there's Guzman leading off this inning with 4. He and Nomar Mazara and Kiner Falefa, Beltre, Jurickson, Profar, all with 3 apiece. So everybody chipping in lately.
I just checked with John Blake to make sure that I was correct on the Scott Fletcher, first $1 million player. He assured me that I was, and he thought that Mark Aguirre for the Mavs might have been the second.
that's John to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Give you the next guy. That's awesome.
But
2-strike pitch. Guzman stays alive.
When you just look at that fact that Scott Fletcher was the first athlete in the Metroplex to make $1 million, and you see that the average salary in Major League Baseball is somewhere around $4 million. I don't know why parents would steer their young kids to football when they have a chance to play baseball. It just makes no sense to me. If you're the greatest running back on earth, your longevity is whatever, 3 or 4 years in the NFL. They don't make as much as linemen make. Why would you not have your kid play baseball where you can play for, as Adrian Beltre is, for 20 years?
And
it just makes no sense to me.
And so you just made that argument from
an economic standpoint, you didn't even bring up the injury potential.
Sure.
All the damage that could be done that way.
Well, I'm looking at the economics, but certainly the injury, long-term injuries, and the longevity that a baseball player can have.
Kiner Falefa takes a strike. 1-1 the count. Yeah, there's another guy who's played a few years. Bartolo Colon. This one hit sharply over third. That's a base hit, and Isaiah Kiner Falefa continues his magical start to 2018. A one-out double.
Well, when we were down in the manager's office before the game, Isaiah's name came up, and Banny, of course, was very complimentary of the way he's been playing and how impressed he's been with the way he's handled himself in big league camp over the last couple of years. But if you just dropped in on our games for the last week and a half and didn't know who any of the players were, you would probably look at Isaiah and the way he's played and just assume that he was one of the veterans on the team, because he has good at bats. He's been solid defensively. He has, as Banny was saying, a calmness about him, the way he plays. He just doesn't look like a kid who got called up to the big leagues for the first time. Performance has been really good, but just looking at everything else about him, his body language and the look on his face and the way he's playing, I'm sure he's feeling differently on the inside. Everybody does, especially young players getting a chance as a rookie, but it certainly is not displayed on the outside when you watch his actions on the field.
One-0 to Shields, and that one back up the middle. That's a base hit. Kiner Falefa stopped at third. What a double and a single. Well, the Rangers may be building something in this third inning.
Now, Isaiah had to wait for a little bit to make sure that line drive was headed into center field. Nice job by Delino hitting that, looked like a slider down and away. Hit it a little bit toward the end of the bat. By the time Kiner Falefa took off for third, he was not going to be able to score. Canna in center field launched a high throw, but it would have probably landed right on top of home plate and resulted in and out. So a good job by Tony Beasley putting the brakes on Kiner Falefa at third base, especially with Chu coming up.
Well, that was Delino's first hit since coming back from the disabled list. And interesting, they're already concerned, and wisely so, that Delino might try to take off. We saw Gallo steal a base last inning. Oakland has had trouble holding runners, and that pitch to Chu right in there for a strike.
We showed this in yesterday's game, the area in the outfield for a sacrifice fly. If it's in front of the red line, it generally results in a run. If it's behind the green line, the opposite way, and out if it's in front of the red, sorry, and back of the green, a run, and in between, varying percentages of the chance the outfielder would have to make the throw to the plate.
Set up in on Chu, but the pitch goes up and away. 0-2.
We'll take a look at it again and see where the left fielder plays in relationship to that area. And he's well behind that line. And what that is, that's respect to Chu and the power he has to left field. Right now, the left fielder is not as worried about where he would have to play to catch the ball and have a play at the plate. He's more worried about where he needs to play so that a fly ball hit by Chu can be caught. You'll worry about the sacrifice fly later, but you don't want to guard against the sacrifice fly and then have the ball shoot over your head for a two-run double.
Shields was running on the pitch. He steals it without a throw. They appealed the check swing. Chu deemed to have held up, so 1-2 the count, and stolen base for Delino.
Delino, I'm sure, has been unable to contain himself for the first opportunity to steal a base.
Close?
Yeah, very close. No double play in order now. Chu has seen a lot of changeups in his 2 at-bats. A lot of off-speed pitches, not much in the way of a fastball that he can handle.
Rangers have done a pretty good job so far of working their at-bats against Cahill. This will be his 50th pitch of the night already. Second and third, 1 out, and that is strike 3 called, and Chu knew it. 2 away. That's just the 3rd strikeout tonight for Cahill.
Yeah, he had seen so many off-speed pitches that when the fastball finally came, he wasn't quite ready for it. That pitch is obviously right down the middle. It wasn't a case of Chu thought that was a ball. He had just seen so many off-speed pitches that Cahill looked like he went to a 4-seam fastball, not a sinker, and just put as much velocity as he could on the ball, hoping that that would surprise Shin-Soo, and it's exactly what happened. That's the old cat and mouse game between the pitcher and the hitter. Pitcher's trying to disrupt the timing.
This one gets away from Lucroy, and Kiner Falefa to the plate. It's a 2-1 game. Wild pitch. It's the Rangers on the board.
Well, that's one of the perils of being a catcher with Trevor Cahill on the mound. Trevor Cahill throws a lot of wild pitches. He throws a lot of sinkers in the dirt. That looked like a changeup in the dirt. Jonathan does whatever he can to block that ball. It just caroms off him, and the run scores, and at second goes to third. We'll have it happen again. 2 of them in 1 inning.
And that last one wildly up, and so it's 2-0. That's the 18th wild pitch charged to the Oakland A's, which is a lot. 2 balls, no strikes on Mazzara. To Shields, 90 feet away at third. Big swing and a miss. Last year, Cahill made, I think, 11 starts. He had 16 wild pitches. That's kind of amazing.
Over 1 per start.
There's Greg Gibson, and he's pointing into the Rangers dugout. Not real sure what was being communicated.
Swing and a miss, so I'm not sure what the argument was either. Nomar has seen a changeup 3 times so far in his 2 at-bats when he's ahead in the count. We'll see if it's another changeup right here. In his first at-bat, 2-0 changeup, 3-1 changeup. In this at-bat, he saw a 2-0 changeup, and here comes the 3-1 pitch. So if you're Nomar, you're way ahead in the count. Do you look for a changeup right here, sit on it, and take a fastball, knowing you're still going to, if it's a strike, you still got a chance at 3-2? Or do you say,
I would think you would, right?
Yeah, or do you say he's not going to do it again? Let's see.
Swings right through that one.
Nosedived. Wow. I dare say very few big league hitters on a 3-1 count could hit that pitch. Now, does he back it up with another changeup right here? Let's see. I would. He would too.
Yeah.
He's got such good movement on that changeup that I think the risk of throwing a lot of them isn't quite the same as it might be with another pitcher whose changeup was a little straighter.
Did you play that game mentally when you were hitting? Were you thinking, okay, he's done this before?
I wasn't good at that. I just went up there and looked for a fastball every pitch and hoped I could make an adjustment. I'm not suggesting that's what you should do or shouldn't do. That's just what worked the best for me.
3-2. And this one bounced down to first base. And that will end the inning. The Rangers don't get on the board. Kiner Falefa scoring on the wild pitch. As we head to the 4th, it's 2-1.
All right, the scoring has started. We go to the fourth inning, 2-1. I want you to mark this off on your calendar. The 2018 Park Place Dealerships Texas Rangers Triple Play Spectacular. Sultan Soiree is going to be held Wednesday, May 9th at the Hilton Anatole. So put it on the calendar. All proceeds going to benefit the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. To purchase tickets, go to texasrangers.com/triple play. It's always a fun night. 0-2. Count on Mark Canna as he starts things off here in the fourth inning. He's 0 for 1. Canna, another one of those successful Rule 5 selections. Right-handed hitter, and he hits this one by third, and that's a base hit. He'll gallop to second base. Canna, a leadoff double in this fourth inning.
Well, the A's right-hand hitters have hit a number of balls just like that on pitches that have been inside, fastballs, cut fastballs. This looks like a cut fastball inside part of the plate. And I'm sure that they watched video of Matt's last start, probably saw he had some success there. Doesn't guarantee that you're going to be able to swing the bat, make good contact, and get a base hit because you watched that video, but had a little bit of an idea of what he might be trying to do. And so far, they've done a pretty nice job of hitting some tough pitches.
So Chad Pinder, and he hits it sharply by second. Got on Kiner Falefa in a hurry. Canna turns third. He'll score as the throw is cut off, and it's 3-1 Oakland.
That was one of those low line drives that just skims off the dirt. Tough to watch that ball and move your glove exactly where the ball is going to be. You see it hit. You get down, and you hope you can get your glove in front of that ball. Very difficult. He did everything the right way there. Just wasn't able to get that smash.
So Pinder drives in a run with his second hit of the night, and here is Jonathan Lucroy.
Early in the season in April, the A's have a nice offense going right now. Marcus Semien is off to a pretty nice start. They have two young players, Matt Chapman and Matt Olson, at third and first, who are good young upcoming players with power. Lowry's been one of the best offensive players in baseball. Chris Davis is power in the middle of the lineup, one of the best home run hitters in baseball. So they've got a good lineup. They've got a lot of names that aren't household names around the game. But a pitcher has to work to get through this lineup. Do some good things offensively.
0-2 to Lucroy. Breaking ball grounded up the middle. Profar underhands to second. Kiner Falefa on to first. Double play. 6-4-3. And that'll clean the bases. 2 away.
Yeah, Matt has shown that he's given up more fly balls than ground balls tonight, but it's a good time to get a ground ball and a good spot to get it in. Hard hit ball, easy for the guys to turn. 2 quick outs right when Matt needed it.
The first and only outs on ground balls right there. So he'll take it. Marcus Semien, leadoff hitter. Boy, lines that one right down to Beltran. A short hop. And give him plenty of time to throw out Semien. The inning is done, but A's add a run. Just an 8-pitch inning. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Adrian Beltre taking on Trevor Cahill to start this bottom of the fourth, brought to you by AARP. And you can see the numbers for Beltre against Cahill. Good numbers, couple of home runs, a .355 average. Well, maybe he's the guy who'll get it started in this fourth inning. First pitch on the way from the right-hander, and there's strike one. Beltre disagreeing. Oh, hammers that one down the left field line from a knee, but foul. It's 0-2.
And the first curveball was outside. That one looked like it was pretty much in the hitter's zone. Adrian jumped on it, went down on one knee, just got a little bit out in front of it. We have seen him hit a home run doing that, though.
That's the first time we've seen him do that this year. Years past, he's done it a lot. And shoots this one into the seats. It stays 0-2. It's a classic, though.
It's kind of a signature move by Adrian. I remember, I think it was last year, looking out to right field way before the game. Adrian was throwing batting practice to his little boy. His little boy was pounding the ball all over the field and occasionally would go down on one knee and take that same swing.
The other guy who started doing it last year a little bit too was Carlos Gomez.
Yeah.
He started taking that same swing.
Did you see Carlos Gomez home run yesterday?
That was unbelievable.
That might be the all-time trip around the bases I've ever seen.
That is the crazy. You know, we talk about guys showing up pitchers or whatever. That was the all-timer. Wildest.
He was so excited. He was just doing. I don't think he couldn't come up with anything else to do.
There were like 4 or 5 routines in the.
He had his tongue out, looking at the dugout after he hit it. He never did get to home plate. I don't know. He finally did, but he was in front of home plate for about 5 seconds. Posturing. Oh, that was great.
Beltre strikes out to start this fourth inning. Let's break for word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock only at southwestkia.com.
All right, here's Joey Gallo. Walked in the second inning, stole second, moved to third on an error, but was left there. Cahill. Oh, good breaking ball for a strike.
Cahill in his first start against the White Sox pitched really well. 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs. Struck out 8 in that game. So after his initial 3 years in the big leagues with Oakland, I remember going to Oakland when he was only 21, and they had Brett Anderson, who I believe was 21 at the same time, a left-handed pitcher. And when you watched those kids when they were 21, you said, whoa, the A's have Mulder and Zito all over again. Or maybe Hudson and Zito or Mulder, lefty and a righty. But they both had some injury problems. Cahill's didn't come up until a little bit later. Brett Anderson's started early in his career. 2 really good-looking 21-year-olds. And then Cahill got traded and eventually ended up in the bullpen where he pitched for the Cubs in 2015, 2016. He was a key member of that bullpen those 2 years. Pitched great. Now getting a chance again to pitch as a starting pitcher. Through a start and a half, he's looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, last year suffered through more injury. 3 stints on the disabled list. The shoulder rotator cuff was bothering him. It's a 1-0 to Profar. Big swing and a miss. Also just a weird travel last year for him. Used as a starter with San Diego, and then went to Kansas City in a trade in July where they used him out of the bullpen. 2-1. We mentioned like 12 weeks of the season that he had to miss because of those injuries. So then was a very late sign this year. And you almost had to wonder, would he get a job with all the injury last year, the inconsistency, but you can see plenty of teams have seen what the A's see in him. 2-2. That's a full count. I think of the many notes that jumped out at me today about Trevor Cahill. He's had good success against the Rangers in his career, 10-4 in 17 starts. There's only one pitcher in the franchise's history with more wins against the Rangers, and that was Barry Zito.
Zito had, I don't remember what it ended up, but for a while he had an incredible record, 14-1 or 12-0, something like that against the Rangers. Do you know what it ended up?
Well, I know he ended up with 17 wins. Yeah.
I think there was less than 5 losses. That was a pretty tough staff when you went in there and saw Hudson, Mulder, and Zito.
Profar doing good battle here. He's 0 for 1. Yeah, I mean, to that end, I mean, you could have guessed all 3 of those guys if you wanted to. Maybe have had more wins.
Yeah.
But only Zito has had more in an Oakland uniform against the Rangers. And Trevor Cahill, 3-2. Another foul ball.
And that was a time where the A's cashed in on draft choices. Mulder was a high #1 draft choice. They certainly cashed in on him. Zito, I think, was maybe the 13th or 14th pick. They cashed in on him. Hudson, I believe, might have been a 6th round pick. He wasn't a big guy. Went to Auburn. Didn't have the huge velocity numbers. But boy, did he have a hard sinker, and what a competitor he was. So over a couple of year period, to have drafted those 3 guys, and basically those 3 guys led him to the postseason and a kind of a resurgence as an organization. The draft is so difficult to make those kind of decisions and end up with players like that. But when you hit on 3 in a short period of time like those, your organization can go from mediocre to really good.
Well, that was a pretty good plate appearance right there by Profar. A 2-out walk. And a 10-pitch at bat. He saw 6 pitches in his first at bat. How about this? Profar averaging a little over 4.3 pitches per plate appearance. So he's right among the top in the American League.
Well, I remember, going back to when he was a young player, playing in A-ball and then getting promoted to AA. And people were talking about him as highly regarded, one of the best prospects in baseball. One of the things that you heard about him was his maturity, his leadership qualities, and his ability to have good at-bats, to be patient at the plate, look for his pitch. And, maybe we'll start to see that now that he's getting a chance to play on an everyday basis until Elvis comes back. And recently he's been pretty good. Last 8 games he's been hitting over 340. As you mentioned, Dave, he's having tough at bats, seeing a lot of pitches. It's tough to do it when you're a really young player like he was, being used as in a utility role. This would be a little bit better gauge when over a lengthy period of time you can see him play every day, especially at his position that he was groomed to play as a youngster, shortstop.
Chirinos asks for time. Chirinos struck out in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. Yeah, baseball is such a wacky sport. You might not have guessed that Profar would ever get that shot to play shortstop with the Rangers. And now, maybe only be for a couple of months, whatever. But here he is getting that everyday opportunity. I'm sure he probably gave up on that idea for a while.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to prepare himself to be ready to play at whatever position.
Chirinos launches this one out to left field. Pinder is back, and it is gone! Third home run of the year for Chirinos. And he ties this game at 3.
Well, it looked like he got a hanging curveball to do it. And we were talking about Robinson his last at bat. A little bit of a slow start. He's got some power in that bat. We saw it last year. We're going to see it this year. Maybe that's the start of a nice streak.
Yeah, I'd like to think that you called this. You said it earlier. And he's about to get hot. Well, that's a big swing right there. Now Ronald Guzman, he was trying to match the feet. It comes up empty.
Take a look at the pitch. Yeah, that's the definition of a hanging curveball right there. Stayed up in the middle of the plate and on the inside part of the plate for good measure. See what StatCast has to say about that home run. Exit velocity 102, 33-degree launch angle, and went 382 feet. More importantly, tied this game at 3.
Well, he's had some big hits, big home runs in the last week and change now. As the 1-2 to Guzman. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out for the final out of the 4th inning. But the Rangers tied up on the Chirinos homer.
And we'll take a look at that hanging curveball and watch Robinson swing as the ball disappears over the left field fence. A 3-1 deficit turns into a 3-3 tie.
Troy Aikman, Joel Klatt, and Arlington were all the big picks. April 26th, 27th, live on Fox and on the NFL Network. Stephen Piscotty leading off for Oakland here with the 5th inning. Takes very high for a ball. Oh for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Piscotty in the 2-hole tonight for Oakland. He has been swinging a pretty hot bat the last week and change. Moore can't get him to chase that one. Had an 8-game hitting streak recently. That came to an end Friday night. He has by and large been their starting right fielder. And lifts this one high in the air out to right. Mazzara waiting. 1 away. So now Jed Lowry, who doubled his last time up, our TXU Energy power player to watch. 56 doubles since the start of last year, including his double earlier tonight. That is tied for most in Major League Baseball. So if you're into doubles, well, that's pretty good. 7 this year. Lowry also one of the very few in the league who still wears the double ear flaps. When I see it on a big league hitter, Tom, it makes me almost claustrophobic just to look.
Yeah. They wear them in the minor leagues. And so if you're a switch hitter, it makes it a lot more simple that you don't have to have two helmets to carry around all the time. Just wear the same helmet all the time. And to a certain degree, it's a little bit safer when you're on the bases. If you get hit by a ball, you've got a flap on both sides. It's just a matter of whether you can get used to the way it feels, and in some cases, whether you like the way it looks.
Lowry bounces out to third. 2 away here in the 5th inning.
Designated hitter Chris Davis.
We'll bring up Chris Davis.
But, you know, there's a lot of players that played way back 50, 60 years ago that would love to have had the chance to wear that helmet. Think about the players that played without a helmet. All they had was a hat. Back in the day where they threw at your head
Right.
all the time.
Right.
Don Drysdale, when he was our announcer back in 1972, used to say that the Dodgers threw at Willie Mays at least once every series they played him. And Willie get knocked down, get back up, and get in the box. And of course, if he was getting knocked down, someone on the Dodgers was getting knocked down. And there's a guy with a Willie Mays jersey on. And so that was happening, and all they had was a hat. If you tried to go to bat in a big league game right now with a hat, you'd feel like you were naked.
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel like you could even do it. Then they went to the batting helmet, but it didn't have a flap on it. First few years that I played in the minor leagues and the big leagues. I think in the big leagues one year there was no flap, but at least you had a hard hat. Then finally they went to the flap. I don't think it's going to catch on ever where players will use the same kind of helmet that Jed Lowry's wearing, a flap on each side. But I would be surprised in 3 or 4 years, maybe less than that, that every player doesn't have that little added appendage that goes over the face, over the mouth, and right in front of the nose. It's probably uncomfortable and may feel like you don't see the ball quite as well when you first start wearing it. But boy, with it, what can happen when you get hit in the face? I know if my kids were growing up today, I would make sure that their Little League helmets had that on the helmet, and you get used to it. If you were lucky enough to play in high school or college, and after that, you were used to wearing it.
You do see him more and more.
Yeah, more and more guys are doing it. You're right.
I mean, I don't know how many of the Mariners had it, but it seemed like almost half of the lineup.
Yeah, I would definitely have one. Remember that terrible pitch in the face that Don Slaught took in Boston that afternoon from Oil Can Boyd. When Don was hit in the face, they allowed fans to sit all the way over in center field, and for a day game that was white, and you couldn't see the ball come out of the white shirts. And I don't know whether it was exactly because of the ball that hit Don, but after that, during day games, they rope that area off and they don't let people sit there. Much better look for the hitter, who against the dark green background can pick up the ball much better. That was so scary.
Well, I remember back in the day, guys would wear that kind of a modified football face mask, a little bit of it. You don't see that so much anymore. Now you see that little C flap that they wear. Do you remember that? You know, like a face mask piece.
I remember that.
Occasionally a guy would pop on there.
Probably for a guy that had already been hit by a pitch and was just trying to protect it. And at the time, that's probably what they could come up with. So this has, in my opinion, been a nice innovation, and it's available to the players that want to wear it.
No balls, 2 strikes on Chapman. Chapman was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, struck out on the 3rd. Knotted up here in the 5th inning. And Chris Davis over at first base. Moore's 0-2. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3. He gets Chapman for a 2nd time tonight. It's just his 2nd strikeout overall.
Well, coming after a couple of innings where the A's put some runs on the board, a nice inning for Matt, ending with his curveball down and getting Matt Chapman to swing and miss.
is our showstopper. If you want to see a guy pimp a home run, here it is. That's going around first. He hasn't even started. When he got around home plate, that was the best part. Here he comes. Zeroing in on third. Taking him about a minute and a half to get to third base.
He had a lot to get done.
Well, when he got to home plate, it took him about 10 seconds to get the last 3 feet of that home run. Here he comes. He's dancing. He doesn't know what to do now. This is...
Wow.
Oh, boy.
The walk-off homer to beat the Twins. Now, earlier in the game, he had struck out and he snapped his bat over his leg.
Snapped his bat over his leg.
It's a show.
If you could transport old-time players from, say, 1935 to the present time and have them watch that home run, I would just love to be there and watch them see that and see what they thought about that. I guess you wouldn't have to go back that far. You go back probably 10 years maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Count stays full on Kiner Falefa, who doubled his first time up tonight. Like, what would Will Clark think of that?
Yeah, Will wouldn't be a fan.
I don't think he
Will would not be a fan.
Sign off on that. Now, Kiner Falefa, what a run he is on right now. A 6-game hitting streak. 10 hits his last 22 at bats. He swings and misses here, strikes out to start the 5th inning.
Good curveball.
Center fielder,
So the Josh Abbott Band will be performing a post-game concert on Sunday, May 6th. It's going to be presented by Budweiser. 2:05 game, Red Sox and Rangers, and then the concert after the game. You can get tickets and field passes at texasrangers.com/concerts. That's a full day. And I guess, Tom, you know, back in the day, you'd have the double headers. That was always a blast as a kid. You'd get 2 for the price of 1 kind of thing. So today, you know, in lieu of the double header, you get a game and a concert. That's how we've
pretty good deal.
Advanced the show these days.
I know every year that we went to a game, we'd go 1 day a year, usually on a Saturday or Sunday, either to Boston or New York to watch the Red Sox and the Yankees, and we'd go on a doubleheader every chance we got anyway.
Hard ground ball up the middle, and to Shields with his 2nd hit of the night. So just off the disabled list yesterday, and then 2 hits in this one tonight.
A stolen base in the 3rd, and he'll be a candidate to try for another one right here. And he stays with the curveball. Nice job staying with that curveball and going right back through the middle with it.
So good speed on base now. And here is Shin-Soo Choo. He's had a little trouble with Cahill tonight, a couple of strikeouts. Takes low.
That's pretty cool. Each time he goes forward, you see how much. Up to 11 feet with the lead. By the end of the season, we'll probably be able to say which player for the Rangers or against the Rangers was able to take the biggest lead.
Yeah, I don't know who it was the other night had about a 12-foot lead.
Did they?
When we took a peek at that.
You have to think it was a base steal, or otherwise, why were they doing it, right?
Exactly.
I like that.
There he goes. Got a swing and a miss. Throw down to 2nd. Not in time.
No chance.
Not even close to Shields with his 2nd stolen base of the night. The Rangers with 3 in the game already.
And Delano took a couple of pitches before he went. Got a good look at Cahill's move to the plate. Not an exceptionally quick move, but not an exceptionally slow move to the plate. But regardless,
of the accuracy of Lucroy's throw, it wasn't going to make any difference. That base was going to be stolen. He had the jump. He had the start. Reaches full speed pretty quick. No chance to get him on that one. That's what the Rangers were missing right there. Leadoff hitter getting on base, making things happen, getting in scoring position.
Well, getting a much better spots this time around. They struggled running the bases in Oakland, and now Delino, whoop, that started a little early. Chapman running him back, and he'll put the tag on him. And that is out number 2.
Did we see do that the other day? Mitch Haniger?
Yeah, I think it was
Haniger. Haniger for Seattle left a little too soon. Delino was going on first move, and he thought that first move was going to take Cahill toward the plate. He came right back around and never went to the plate.
Look again at Cahill.
Cahill had it in the back of his mind that Delino might be going.
Well, the next pitch, Chu rolls out to the right side, and the inning is done. So just like that, Cahill out of trouble in the 5th. It's a 3-3 game. It'll be Matt Olson, Mark Canha, and Chad Pender due for Oakland. A 3-3 ball game. And Moore's first pitch, Olson swings and misses at strike 1. So opening game in this series with Oakland. And then the Rangers with an off day on Thursday. They'll use that day to travel later on to Toronto. Oh, 0-2. So Tom, I hate to bring it up. This is never the type of thing that you look forward to talking about, but I know that you were teammates with Dave Nelson. We learned last night passed away from a long battle with liver cancer, which was very sad news around baseball today, particularly here. A good part of this franchise's history up in Milwaukee as well.
Yeah, it was a sad day, Dave. It was a sad day for anyone that knew Davey Nelson, whether you were in baseball, whether you were a fan, or whether you were just family and friends. I was talking to Toby Harrow this morning about Davey, and we both agreed that as long as we played and been in the game, he was right up at the top as one of our all-time favorite teammates. He was the kind of guy that got along with everybody. He was media friendly, fan friendly, always in a good mood, and it was very sad to hear. I talked to Davey, maybe 6 months ago, and I knew he wasn't feeling good, but I didn't know the extent of how badly he was feeling. But I have a lot of nice memories. I know my wife loved him. Davey was my teammate when we had our oldest son. He was probably from the ages of 1 to 4 or 5, and we played together in Venezuela, and Davey used to play with him out at the pool every single day practically. Just a wonderful guy. And when we have a little bit more time, I see Jeff Bannister going to the mound to make a pitching change. I've got a couple little anecdotes to tell about Davey when we come back.
All right, looks like Banny will head into the bullpen. Jose Leclerc did really well the other day on his call-up, and he's back in this one. So Matt Moore out. Jose Leclerc is on here with a man on and nobody out.
And we're talking about Davey Nelson, and Davey was the first player I met the first time I went to big league camp. When I checked into the Surfrider Hotel in Pompano Beach, Davey was in the lobby, and he'd been in the big leagues for a couple of years, and he came up to me and introduced himself and said if I wasn't doing anything a little later, he'd asked me if I wanted to go out to dinner. I remember he had a brand new red Corvette, and we went to Fort Lauderdale and had a couple beers and had dinner, and pretty much struck up a friendship from that time on. I remember the day back in the early 70s against the Brewers when he was a great base stealer. I think he stole 40 or 50 bases in different years, but he stole second, third, and home in the same. Got on first, stole second, third, and home back to back to back, which was very exciting. But then, thanks to Evan Grant, I know this date, June 14th, 1974, we were playing the Brewers again. The Brewers had a center fielder named Bobby Coluccio, and he got on first base and stole second base with a head first slide. There's dust all over the place. Davey was the middle infielder, caught the ball, and came over to Coluccio and said, hey, Bobby, move your foot a little bit. I want to get the dirt off the bag. And as soon as Coluccio took his foot off the bag, Davey tagged him out. And Coluccio was so mad and embarrassed that he started fighting with Davey at second base. Didn't go much farther than that. But, you know, when you think of teammates or friends from the past, several little things, I'm sure, pop into your mind, and those are just a few of many that pop into my mind out of Davey. Mostly what pops into my mind is what a great teammate he was and what a nice person.
On one pitch, and Canna waves at it. So I love the story about Coluccio because that's the type of thing in the heat of a moment, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm safe, I'm dusting myself off. Someone says, hey, can you step off that for a moment? I'm dusted off. Me and the way my little
you
brain
might have
works,
fallen for it.
Oh, I think I totally could have fallen for that. Oh yeah, go ahead. You know, boom, you're out.
Well, it's a sandlot play for sure.
Oh, yeah. Little blue foul. Now, when you go back to Pompano Beach, back when you met Dave Nelson and you said you were checking into the hotel. What was it called again? The what?
The Surf Rider.
Surf Rider. I love that. I love that detail.
Right on the beach in Pompano.
So had you ever met before?
No.
So he just sees you walking in. It's like, hey.
I think, you know, it was the time, it was reporting time to spring training. It was maybe 2 days before the regular workout started, and guys were checking into the hotel. But I had never been to big league camp. I'd never been to spring training before. After college, I would just join the team when the season had started. So I didn't know any of the big league players, never met any of them. And so I was a little apprehensive when I got there. I didn't know, back then we had roommates. Gene Martin was my roommate, but I hadn't met him yet. And so when I got to the hotel, I saw Davey, and he looked like an athlete and a ball player. I figured he might be a ball player, but I had never met him, didn't know him. But that's how friendly he was. He just came up to with a big smile on his face, and after about a minute, I felt like I'd known him for a long time.
Clark very high, full count on Canna. Well, maybe, I mean, you were the first round draft pick and all. I mean, maybe he was online and checking out all the top prospects in the game.
I'm not sure what line that would have been that he was on. That was his landline he might have been on back then.
That's Tom Grieve, man. I was just watching about him on the network. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he had a red convertible, Corvette convertible. So that was pretty cool, driving into Fort Lauderdale to get a bite to eat in a red Corvette.
Yeah, that works out well on the beaches. So, yeah, you're off and running at that point.
Yeah.
And I think I think there was a season. I don't know if it was when the team was in Washington or when he was here, where he stole, I believe, 51 bases.
That was probably here. I'm not sure if Davey was with Washington a whole season to do that or not.
3-2. There's a swing and a miss for the strikeout. Throw down to second, and Olsen just got in there. Now he may have been interfered. That is Chirinos. Yeah, they interfered with him. So
sure did.
That's a double play. Canna came around and then kind of ended up out in front of Chirinos. And when he threw to second, I think his follow through may have hit Canna, and so that is a caught stealing and a double play.
Bob Melvin is looking for an explanation, I guess.
That's going to be a short one.
Bob Melvin, I believe, was a catcher, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's probably been in that situation before.
He knows that gig. Here we go. Right there. You make contact. The other thing is, like, if you make any contact at all with a hitter trying to throw down a second base like this, like that bat was the first problem. Then you do that right there. You draw the foul.
Yeah, in case you didn't see it.
Yeah. By the way, he did hit me. You can see my hands are on his back.
Yeah, I don't think that Canna was doing that on purpose. That was just kind of where his momentum took him. But it doesn't matter whether it's intentional or not. It's still interference.
So, 2 gone. Pender, you can see right there, got a little quick word from the skipper. But Melvin has lifted Pender for a pinch hitter here. Matt Joyce will bat for him. So Leclerc's first offering, and that ball is hammered down the right field line, but foul. Strike 1. Ooh. See Joyce's numbers right there. 861 on base plus slugging. He's got a little thunder in that bat. Pender, of course, had been 2 for 2 against Matt Moore, but this one rolled out there to the right side, and Joyce thrown out to win the inning. So Leclerc comes in, does the job. We go to the bottom of the 6th. GMC dealer today. All tied up, bottom of the 6th inning tonight. Some changes for Oakland. Matt Joyce takes over in left field for Pender after hitting for him. And Ryan Duel is the new pitcher. So Cahill's night is done. Let's see, last pitched on Tuesday. So a lot of rest for Duel. Gets the heart of the order here and fires that one in for a strike.
Hey, go back a couple years to 2016, and Ryan Duel had some kind of year. 2.42 ERA in 70 appearances, only 50 hits in 74 innings, 15 walks, 73 strikeouts. He was one of the better setup men in the league. And last year, he had some time in the disabled list. In fact, quite an extensive time in the disabled list. So only appeared in 49 games. His numbers were okay. The ERA was kind of high, but he had a lot of strikeouts, fewer hits than innings pitched. Not a big guy, but got a good arm. Low to mid 90s fastball, probably 92-ish, 93 occasionally. Good slider.
2-strike pitch.
Called
strike 3.
That's a good one.
Third baseman,
Look at how it comes off his fingertips. When dropped a little bit, went right to left a little bit. When you watch it go by the back knee, it looks a little low. When it went by home plate, according to our rectangle, it was right at the bottom for a strike.
One on Beltre. Can you trust the rectangle?
I trust the rectangle on inside and outside for sure. I think it's modestly arbitrary top to bottom because it has to be set based on who the hitter is.
Not gonna carry though. 2 away. Yeah, I think that's the thing that gets me all the time. When I see Aaron Judge come up and look at the rectangle and then see Altuve follow.
Someone has to set it.
Yeah.
And you know, you set it when the guy assumes his stance. As far as inside and out go, that's black and white. That's pretty easy to decide what's inside or outside.
Now hammers that
Just
ball,
missed.
just foul. That was foul by inches. And fair most of the way. 3, maybe 4 inches foul. Gallo 0 for 1 with a walk. A tie game. Joey could untie it with one of his big swings right here. 7 home runs this year, 3rd most in the American League. He's ahead 2-1.
Hey, Joey walked today. That's 6 straight games he's walked.
He definitely looks a little more comfortable in the middle of the order. Yeah, he tried to slot him up in the 2nd spot. I like the idea, but it just seems more comfortable somewhere, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th or so. Well, they set up for the pull on the infield. Outfield pretty much straight away. And he lifts this one high in the air out to left. But playable out there, and completes a 1-2-3 inning for Duel. So we'll go to the 7th inning, all tied up.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to left field game as Dr. Pepper presents tonight's steal ace. Tonight's contestant is Tornado John Rosales from Mercedes, Texas. John will have 35 seconds to steal third base and take it back to the left field game. Here's John Rosales from Mercedes, Texas.
We've played 6 so far tonight, all square at 3. The Rangers and Dr. Pepper are teaming up to bring you savings at the ballpark this season. All you have to do is bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office, not the doctor's office, or use an online coupon code Dr. Pepper, and you get tickets starting at just $11 for the remaining 2 games of the series. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials and come see us. That's tricky. I mean, you're saying box office, but Dr. Pepper. There's almost no chance that I don't say doctor's office at some point in that thing. Here's Lucroy. He's had a tougher day behind the plate. He's 0 for 2 at the plate. And he hit one of the very few ground balls tonight by an A's hitter, and it turned into a double play. So altogether, not a particularly memorable night for Jonathan Lucroy. Clerk a little bit low, 3-0. Well, Leclerc came in last inning, got a double play on a strike him out, throw him out, and then a ground ball for a quiet 1 inning of work. Just misses, and he walks Lucroy to start the 7th. Leclerc just added to the roster again a couple of days ago as Matt Bush begins to loosen up. Leclerc threw 2 scoreless the other day when rejoining the Rangers. Top of the order, Marcus Semien, and he takes a changeup for a strike. Well, not a whole lot going on. You look at the A's box score. You see Joyce in that 8-hole, though. He's a pinch hitter, and he replaced a couple of hits when he came in. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Came in for Chad Pinder, who was not in that little box score there. Had a couple of hits. Semien's 1 for 3. Ground ball, third base. Beltre will go to second for 1. The relay, not in time. Semien hustles it out. Safe on the fielder's choice, and there's 1 away.
Not hit quite hard enough. And Semien runs pretty well. And it takes a long throw to get to second. Isaiah turned it pretty well at second base, but Semien just ran well enough to beat it out.
So now Piscotty first to toss over there to first base. Tom, I want to go back to a story you were telling, I don't know, an inning ago or something. Dave Nelson and Bobby Coluccio fight out at second base.
Yeah.
Years ago in 1974. So, you know, it was a little ruse that, you know, that got Coluccio upset. How big did that fight get? I mean, does everybody come in and pile on that thing?
It didn't get too big, and you know that's far enough back where I can't remember exactly what happened. It seems to me that it was funny that it happened to the point where no one else except Coluccio was mad, including his teammates. So I'm sure the benches moved towards second base, and I don't know whether the umpire got in between them, but it didn't turn into a on-the-ground fight with all the players pushing and shoving out there. It never got to that point.
Now, I don't remember a whole lot about Bobby Coluccio, but did he have a good sense of humor? Later on,
I never knew him personally.
I
know Bobby was a center fielder. He ran well, kind of a hard-nosed, blue-collar type player. But I imagine the next day and from then after, he probably smiled when he thought about it. But at the time, he didn't find any humor in it at all.
Will pop up as the second out of the inning. We'll bring up Jed Lowry.
The other one that I guess that's technically the hidden ball trick. Occasionally you'll see the hidden ball trick work. Marty Scott, who used to be our farm director, but he was a minor league manager before that, had all sorts of little tricks to pull the hidden ball trick, and his minor league teams would pull that 2 or 3 times a season. And of course, in the minor leagues, there's not advanced scouts and there's no games on television, so you can pull the hidden ball trick one day and nobody knows about it the next time you play another team. So if it worked once in a certain way, chances are it might work again against another team. But he used to be a master at having his teams pull that off.
Did you ever get duped by?
No.
No?
I got duped on a lot of things, but I never was a victim of the hidden ball trick.
I would imagine that's a pretty sick feeling when it happens.
It's just awful. You don't know whether it happened, whether it was a trick, whether it really counted, or exactly what happened.
I mean, there are any number of ways you could get confused out on the field, right? Number of outs.
Sure.
You know, just the way somebody's reacting to something. You'd be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see that all the time. It happened to, was it Evan Gaddis the other day on that triple play? Men on first and second, nobody out, ground ball to third, step on third, throw to second for 2 outs. Evan Gaddis thought it was 1 out when he hit it, thought that was the end of the inning, got to first base, walked off the field. They watched him walk off the field and said, oh, wait a minute, there's only 2 outs, walked over and tagged him. It turned into a triple play. And, you know, he had his head down and obviously was embarrassed. So that happens. You see that quite a bit. I remember a game where we were playing the A's and Ted Ford. This was 1972. I believe it was 72. Ted Ford was playing right field with 1 out. Vita Blue was pitching for the A's. He was on second base. And with 1 out, there was a fly ball to right field. Ted Ford caught it. Vita Blue tagged up and went to third. Ted Ford thought it was the last out, put his head down, and trotted all the way from right field into the dugout with a ball in his hand as Vita Blue went all the way home, and everyone in the field was screaming at him to throw it, and he never realized it until someone told him that it happened after Vita had already touched home plate. So you'll see that on the highlights from time to time.
Well, another walk, this one to Lowry, and I guess if you're going to walk anybody, Lowry's not the worst just because he's been hitting so well, but the unfortunate part is it brings up Chris Davis, and that not lost on Jeff Bannister as he will go to the pen. Oakland, so Jeff Bannister didn't want to monkey around. You look at the most home runs against the Rangers since the start of 2016, and it's not really close.
That's a lot of home runs to hit in 2 years, basically. 17. It stands to reason that all those players are from the American League West. When you play a team 19 times, the home run leader is probably going to come from one of those teams. I guess the other candidates might be Albert Pujols or Mike Trout. They weren't in that group. They would be on the Angels, another team we play 19 times every year. But 3 Mariners on that.
Well, a big spot here for Matt Bush, replacing Leclerc. Righty on righty, and first pitch off the plate. You see all the numbers for Davis. Had that 2-run double in the 3rd inning. In this ballpark, Davis is a .343 hitter. 1-0. And Bush again off the plate with a breaking ball and behind 2-0. So being very careful, which you would understand. And again with the breaking ball, 3-0.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect for Chris Davis. When you hit 17 home runs in a couple of years against a team, even though there's men on first and second, there's not an open base. That's going to be especially careful to him. Not any disrespect to Matt Chapman, the next hitter, but Chris Davis has been the toughest hitter in baseball for the Rangers to face the last couple of years. So it's a 3-0 breaking ball, and Davis was swinging all the way.
Yeah, he's seen 4 straight curveballs. And it's not, in fairness here, you look at the home run since 2016. Davis has done it against some other people as well. 91 home runs, most in baseball. And I bet that is a question a lot of people would fail. Up and in with a heater. Whoa. That's
Cover
ball 4,
home.
and they gotta, yeah, you gotta get the baseball quickly, because at his live, Davis though walks, the bases are loaded. I think Bush for a moment there forgot that, you know, possible Semien could have come around to the plate. Fortunately, recovered quickly enough by Chirinos.
Boy, that ball was up and in and tailing toward the face of Chris Davis. That's what it looks like from the hitter's perspective. The only guy I ever remembered not moving on a pitch like that was Ian Kinsler. That pitch didn't look like it would have hit Davis, but it would have been pretty close. He might have felt the ball go by. Ian would stand there and never move and let the ball miss by 8 inches to a foot, whereas most of us would be lying on our back, getting out of the way, not taking any chances.
Well, 3 walks in the inning. The bases are loaded with 2 out now for Matt Chapman. And a fastball right on the corner for a strike. Chapman, a good hitter. See the 5 home runs. He also has a couple of triples. 1 strike pitch. Curveball bounced to shortstop, and Profar will go the short way, and they force out Davis to win the inning, and so Bush gets out of the bases loaded jam. They'll stand a stretch here, tied at 3.
and go back to Robinson Chirinos getting a hanging curveball and launching it to left field. That was in the 4th inning, and that tied the game at 3. His teammates are pretty happy for him. Robinson's been struggling a little bit, but that one swing of the bat puts nothing but good feelings into his mind. And he'll be trying to do something good this inning.
All right, now, bottom of the 7th. See if the Rangers get something going here. They have not led in this ball game tonight. There's Maro Petit. Out of the bullpen the 12th time this year. Oh, 2 on Profar. Profar's had a couple of real good at-bats today. He's seen 16 pitches in 2 at-bats. That's 2 more here. Battled his way to a walk and eventually scored a run in that 4th inning. It's 1-2. Well, the Rangers 8 wins, 15 losses, the 24th game of the year already. 8 games back of Houston in the American League West. This ball back up the middle, and Petit knocked it down accidentally. Throws to first, but not in time. Profar beats it out for an infield hit.
Ball rolled just far enough away. Petit pounced on it, made a nice play. It was headed right straight up the middle. A sharply hit ball. A's are kind of holding their breath and hoping Petit's okay. Important reliever in their bullpen. Jurickson continues to swing the bat well and have good at bats. He walked and scored a run in the 4th. Puts a great swing on that high fastball. And barely beats it out. Gives the umpire a little help with a safe call. And there's a look at it. Foot hits the bag just before the ball enters the glove of Matt Olson.
Never hurts. I love the power of suggestion. Profar is on, and Petit, now let him make a few warm-up pitches or practice pitches here, make sure everything is okay. Wasn't real sure where that ball caught him when it came back up the middle. He had turned his back to the plate, stuck his glove out almost like you know, trying to backhand it blindly. But it obviously did not hit him in the glove, hit him somewhere else. Let's see. Oh yeah, got him on the hindquarters there somewhere.
Yeah, right in the hamstring. That's when you got your back turned to the ball. You know it's going to hit you, but you're not sure where. Came off the bat at 98 miles an hour.
So he hangs in there. Now Robinson Chirinos had the big home run in the 4th inning. A 2-run shot that tied the game. And he bounces this one back to Petit. He'll go to second for 1. Good dig out there, and Semien returns it to first for the double play. Wow, really good effort by Semien, because that throw not a very good one.
Yeah, Semien really got rid of that ball quickly. It wasn't in his glove very long. Petit takes his time, double clutches and throws low, but it didn't bother Semien at all. Stretch at first base by Olson. Base hit is erased.
There's a first baseman like pick at second. It's really nicely done. So the bases are empty. That brings up Ronald Guzman. Guzman, the rookie first baseman. First time he has seen Petit. The Condor as he is known. 6'5", 250 pounds. And you see 6 RBIs already in his very young career. He has chipped in with some very big hits. Ooh, close one. Called strike. 0-2 the count. Just the 8th game in Guzman's career. That bounces up there, and he's polite enough to pick it up for Lucroy. Guzman has popped up, struck out. But he just wants to extend this 7th inning. It's 2-2. Big game for Guzman down in Houston on last Saturday. The game-tying home run of the 8th inning, and then won it with an RBI single in the 10th inning. And he hits this ball straight up in the air to center field. Canna is there. And the inning is done. No runs, a hit, nobody left. We'll go to the 8th. Still tied at 3. One as well, 3-3 as we go to the 8th inning, and Alex Claudio has come on for the Rangers.
Alex will throw his fastball about half the time, somewhere between 84 and 87 miles an hour. Changeup is his best pitch, throws that a lot. He'll mix in a pretty good slider, 75 miles an hour. Alex has struggled a little bit recently. Not much margin for error now in a 3-3 ball game. And maybe this will be the outing where he gets right back on track.
First pitch, and this one lined out to right field, and it's headed to the corner. Zara quickly there with a backhand and keeps it a single. That's a big play. Olson has to hold first base. And we're underway in the 8th inning.
Yeah, Olson definitely wanted to go for 2. He was thinking about going for 2. He got a fastball on the inside part of the plate. Put a good swing on it. Hit it right on the barrel of the bat. Nomar got over there quickly. And I'm sure scouting reports say he's got a nice, strong, accurate arm. And so Olson thought twice about going, went back to first base.
Brings up Mark Canna. And he takes a strike. Canada's double led off the fourth inning, eventually came in to score on a Pender base hit. Takes outside 1-1. Well, it's a battle of bullpens tonight. Both starters are done. Trevor Cahill went 5 innings for Oakland, struck out 6, but allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. Matt Moore pitched into the 6th inning, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, a couple of walks, couple of strikeouts. That one floats in just a little low, 2-1. Claudio, who was so clutch last year for the Rangers, a year in which the bullpen was by far the biggest story, and a year that went wrong. Claudio was the one really shining star in that pen.
Yeah, you know, you've had a pretty good year out of the bullpen when you've started a game, pitched in middle relief, set up relief, and then been the closer by the end of the year.
Low, 3-1. He was the Rangers pitcher of the year, as designated by the Baseball Writers Association.
When you come up through the minor leagues and you're a pitcher like Alex, you really have to earn every promotion you get. But I think right off the bat, with an 85 to 87 mile an hour fastball, you don't gain the same respect that a pitcher throwing 94 to 97 miles an hour might get. So you have to get people out. And even with that great changeup, he had to prove himself every step of the way, including last year. But he proved himself to the point where he became the closer by the end of the year. Eventually, getting people out is what gains the respect.
Trevor Cahill out there to have a quick word. First 2 runners aboard here in the 8th inning. Some smiles out there, obviously. You see Profar. But a serious situation, tied up at 3. A pinch hitter announced. Jake Smolinski into bat here in the 8th spot of the order. Chad Pender started the game in left field, was 2 for 2, was lifted for Matt Joyce, and now Joyce replaced by Smolinski. And after that conversation on the mound, Smolinski and Matt Williams want to talk things over. That you don't see very often right there. What could that possibly be?
Well, in this situation with nobody out there, I guess there's some question as to whether you're going to bunt right here, maybe to sacrifice the runners. And maybe Matt Williams just wanted to make sure he knew the sign, or wanted to make sure he knew what to do without having to worry about a sign. We'll see if he is bunting.
Well, he's squaring, and he does bunt, but foul. So not the most subtle thing in the world.
You have one outfielder pinch hitting for another outfielder to go up and bunt. I guess that must say that Matt Joyce is not a very good bunter, right?
Well, that would have to be the takeaway. Benches are so short anymore in baseball because the depth required in your bullpen. It's interesting that they have used 2 hitters in this spot already. 2 pinch hitters. Chirinos asked for time.
Yeah, according to the scorecard, they have 3 extra men. 2 of them are outfielders, and 1 of them, Bruce Maxwell, is a catcher. Not a lot of versatility as far as infield positions go.
Corners are in, and a bouncer left side. Profar to second, 1, the relay to first in time for a big double play. 6-4 to 3. Beautifully turned by Kiner Falefa.
Well, he didn't get the bunt down, so the A's went to the swing instead of the bunt, and the swing turned into that. 1 swing, 2 outs. First and second, nobody out. Dangerous rally. Still somewhat dangerous in a tie ball game with a man on third, but much less dangerous than first and second and nobody out.
Well, a big defensive play, and that'll do it for Alex Claudio. Kevin Jepson coming on. Tied at 3. Looking ahead at our progressive upcoming schedule. 2 more with Oakland tomorrow night and then Wednesday afternoon. And a little break on Thursday before the road trip to Canada and Cleveland. Then the Rangers back home. We'll see 4 with the Red Sox, 3 with the Tigers, and Houston sneaking in there again. Can't seem to shake the Astros. Every time I look on the schedule, they're like a week out. Rangers and Astros will be done with the season series before the month of July is done.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Yeah, all the teams hope to be contenders, and because when the season starts, every team technically is a contender. You like to think that you're going to play the rest of the teams in your division in September at the end. So that's a quirk in the schedule that I don't think anybody likes.
Kevin Jepson has come on here with a man at third and 2 out. His job to get Jonathan Lucroy. Good breaking ball, 1-1. Lucroy walked his last time up. That was to start the 7th inning. An inning in which the A's loaded the bases but left him out there.
I guess if you're Houston, you like the schedule the way it's turned out, because you're going to play the Rangers without Elvis, without Rudned for a lot of those games, and without Delino for some of them. So
Yeah,
I guess to a certain extent it could work to your favor, but that's the way it would work to your favor. Someone gets hurt and you play all your games against that team while they're missing one of their or 2 of their best players. So far this season, that's the way it's turned out in the Astros' favor.
2-1 from Jepson. Well, that didn't miss by a whole lot. The fans wanted that one.
Pretty close.
And that's for a big 3-1 right here to Lucroy. High fly ball left center field. Gallo ranging over, but it is DeShields coming over from center who takes care of it, and the inning is done. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. A's and Rangers tied at 3. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. A beautiful night tonight. It was 75 degrees at game time. And we get going here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa takes a strike from Yusmeiro Petit. Petit pitched the 7th inning. A big, hard-throwing right-hander. Coils again, and that one just misses. It's 1-1. Been a fabulous start for this young man, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. And he hits this ball on the ground, right side. Lowry right there to scoop it up. One away. A couple of changes for Oakland. Mark Canha has moved from center field to left. And Jake Smolinski, after that pinch hit appearance, now takes over in center field. Oakland left with just one man on the bench. Delano DeShields, he's been on 2 times, a couple of hits tonight. And Petit with a breaking ball away. Delano 1 for 4 in his career against Petit. Petit, the big Venezuelan, 33 years old. He spent 10 years in the major leagues with 5 different teams. The Marlins, 3 years with the Diamondbacks, a couple of years with the Giants, Nationals, Angels, and now Oakland. 1-1.
That season he had last year with the Angels was really a nice season. He actually started a game, pitched in 60 games, and had 91 innings. That's a lot of innings for a reliever nowadays. In the old days, occasionally you'd see some of the relievers, some of the closers really, have over 100 innings, but not much anymore. He had 90 innings, struck out 101 batters, only walked 18. It was a nice season for him.
Shields pops this one up, right side of the infield for Olson. 2 away. Well, he does throw strikes, Petit. You know, you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Go to MLB.tv for details. Petit is done, and a new A coming on.
3 ball game, a couple of outs here in the 8th inning. It's a pitch away, takes a big swing at it and grimaces. And one thing he said is the hamate bone is gone, so he can't re-injure that. But the wound is still not 100% healed, and there still is some pain involved, and occasionally it's going to hurt. But it's not anything that can get worse. It's just a matter of pain tolerance, and I think that's what he probably experienced on that one swing.
Yeah, you pause immediately when you see that, but I think it's a good point. The hamate bone is gone. Still probably didn't feel
No, there's
very good.
Still some pain involved. And when you're going to feel that pain is probably not when you make contact, it's when you swing and miss.
Ryan Buchter is on his 12th appearance for Oakland. He's been really good. 1.86 ERA. 2 out, nobody on, and the 1-1 to Chu. That is strike 2. Chu so far hitless in 3 at-bats. That's strikes me as an unusual night for him. Not many nights you send him back hitless. One-two. Roller right side. Pulls Olsen way off the bag, but Buchter gets there ahead, and the inning is done. A 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. So now tied at 3. We go to the 9th.
Had some success. Jose Leclerc strikes out Marcana. The runner's safe at second, but he's out on batter interference. Matt Bush gets a big out on a ground ball to shortstop. That was Matt Chapman. And then Alex Claudio with 2 men on and nobody out. It's Jake Smolinski to round out into a double play for 2 big outs in the last inning. So the Rangers have clinged to this 3-3 tie, and the bullpen has kept it there since the 5th inning.
Jepson's first offering to Marcus Semien, and that ball is launched into the seats and left. And Semien has just untied it. Oakland leads 4-3. 3rd home run of the year for Semien.
Wow. That was some bad timing as far as the bullpen package went.
Yeah. Boy, it was like Semien was told what was coming. And he just teed off.
Yeah, Simeon's having a pretty good year so far this year. Pretty good month of April anyway. He's hitting .270, and he's got some power. He can put a charge in the ball. He's got him from the White Sox. He hit a bunch of home runs in the minor league, so he's hitting leadoff and provides some power in that spot occasionally as well. That ball was way out of here. That went all the way over the seats in left field.
413 feet. Simeon got all of that one. Oakland back in front 4-3. And the 1-0 to Piscotty popped up and back behind home plate out of play.
Simeon hit 10 home runs for the A's last year, 15 in 2015, but in 2016 he hit 27 home runs. So somewhere between 10 and 27 is probably where he's going to end up. But no matter what the number is, the way he hit that ball, you can see he's got some pretty solid power.
1-2 on Piscotty. Yeah, last year Simeon missed basically the first half of the year with that broken wrist, which cut into his power numbers. And then you mentioned the drop from 2017, or rather 27 2 years ago. He'll become a more patient hitter as part of his transition. The 1-2 pitch bounces up there, and it's 2-2 on Piscotty. Well, that's the 15th extra base hit that the Rangers have allowed in the last 3 games. So many of them doubles, but a couple of big home runs, and that one might be the biggest yet. 2-2. Jepson continuing to try and get Piscotty to chase one in the dirt. Jepson came on, got the final out of the 8th inning. We got Lucroy to fly out to center field. It's a guy who has rediscovered his career. Last year, a year of frustration and I think a lot of mental and physical exploration of the craft as a swing and a miss. Piscotty strikes out, 1 away in the 9th inning. Well, tomorrow, game 2 of this series, and our Ford probables. Andrew Triggs has the start for Oakland. His 5th of the year, a 1-0 start, and Cole Hamels out to the mound for the 6th time. He'll be looking for his 2nd win of the year. Hamels strikeouts way up this year. Here's Lowry, a double, a walk, 1 for 3. Having a huge year. Lowry among the top 10 in the league in average, home runs, RBIs, slugging, leads the league in hits. Did it go? Yes, he did. So on the appeal, Sean Barber down at 3rd brings up Lowry.
Yep, that tells the story.
Oh, 2 out of the way. Jepson last year was at spring training with Arizona, and the end of camp just did not feel like he had it. Arm wasn't responding. You hear a lot of guys talk about dead arm as pitchers, where they just don't get the velocity. They're not feeling like they're getting that snap out of the hand, and he had suffered through it a little bit at the the prior season. Spring training didn't go well, and he refused his assignment to the minor leagues and took off on a little drive. This one back up the middle, diving stop by Profar, and he'll make the throw to first. Guzman with a great dig. Wow, what a play.
That was a nice play. It seems like the more Jurickson plays, the more comfortable he gets offensively and defensively. The A's are contemplating a review of this play. Well, that's a well-hit ball by Lowry. And a very nice pickup. Gets up. Nice play by Guzman to pick that ball, and the A's are going to take a look at it.
Very close. It used to be that the ball had to be in the back of the glove to count as a catch. Now they say, what do they say, like in the cylinder, kind of like the basketball term. Boy, that one might go Lowry's way.
I think he's going to be safe. And the one thing you saw with Lowry that you teach base runners is to, when you go to first base, don't lunge, run through the base and touch the front of the base. You can see his foot right on the front of the base. And when it's a matter of fractions of seconds, touching the front of the base as opposed to the middle or the back of the base can mean the difference between being safe or being out. Not to mention, makes it a lot less likely that you're going to twist your ankle when you touch first base. But they're going to get the call on that one. That was the one that they could review. Nice play by Jurickson. Really nice pickup by Ronald Guzman, but Lowry beat it.
So a challenge by Oakland pays off. Lowry ends up with a hit. But I'm not taking back the great play comment.
No.
It was a great play.
No, it was a great play.
So Lowry is on. Now, a guy not known for his speed. That's just enough to beat that out. And it makes Jepson work from the stretch here against the very dangerous Chris Davis, who's walked his last 2 times up, had a 2-run double earlier, and holds off on strike 1. Any fan of the Rangers who's watched a little bit of the series between the Rangers and the A's over the last couple of years, they know Chris Davis. That one a little low. He has inflicted damage upon the Rangers, unlike maybe any other player has done to any other team, to the tune of 17 home runs since the start of 2016. One. And he hits this one straight up in the air out to right field. Mazzaro waiting patiently. There it is. 2 away. And here comes Matt Chapman. Talking about Jepson, though, in that journey last year when he left spring training and decided not to take the assignment from the Diamondbacks, he drove up into the mountains of Colorado. He spent some time thinking about his career and what he might do, whether he wanted to continue to play baseball. Then went to the beaches of Santa Barbara, camped out on the beaches. And then the best part to me was he went home, and just after a while on a lark, you know, he'd find that one of his former teammates was going to make a start that night, so he tuned the game in for a little bit, watch his buddy start. Maybe a couple nights later, do it again. Then he told me the other day, he's like, next thing I know, I'm watching something every day. I'm watching baseball. I'm watching 2 games a day. And it occurs to me, you know what? I think I kind of missed this.
What a story. Yeah, it would be hard at that point in time to envision being on the mound right now in a big league game.
I'm trying to keep it a 1-run game. All he has to do is take care of Chapman here. Oh, good pitch, just missed. I think that's the right call, though. Looks like it was off.
Yep.
Greg Gibson, our plate umpires, had a reputation over the years of being a little bit more of a hitter's umpire anyway. That looked like it was off. 1-1. Jepson, though, even when he went back to the minor leagues last year, it was no sure thing that he would figure it out. In fact, it wasn't until near the end of the season when throwing a bullpen, one of his minor league catchers said, hey, you know what? Check out the way you're landing with your front foot. And sure enough, he changed the way he landed. He was landing toe first. Started going back to heel first with his landing foot. And the velocity that night went up in the game like 2 miles per hour. And he's like, oh, I don't have dead arm.
You're going to have a lot of kids going out and throwing tomorrow, making sure their heel hits the ground.
Yeah, the heel first, toe first. And the swing of that ball hit well out to left field. Hanging up there a little bit. Gallo is back, reaching, and can't make the catch. Around third, Lowry, he'll score. And Chapman with a big RBI triple. That's an insurance run for the A's. It's 5-3.
Well, it looked like Joey played it pretty well. He got back to the wall, put his hand on the wall to make sure he knew where he was. Chapman's got some power. Didn't get all of that one, but he hit it straight to the wall. See Joey go back, watch the ball, get his hand on, jumps up. Can't quite get it, though. Goes for a triple. Chapman is a young player that the A's will try to build their team around. Just went off the top of his glove. Nice try by Joey.
It's Chapman's third triple of the year. That's most in the league. And now Olson issued the intentional walk, and Jeff Bannister heading out to the mound to take the baseball. So that's it for Jepson. Men on the corners. Mark Canha coming up. The Rangers go to the pen. And then that guy right there, Matt Chapman, with the triple added to it. 2 runs are in. Chapman at third, Olson at first. Jesse Chavez coming in out of the pen for the Rangers.
And Jesse will throw his fastball around 92 miles an hour. Throws it a lot. Fastball slider predominantly, occasionally a changeup, and every now and then a curveball. Jesse's the long man, but in this particular game, he'll be used to get this last out of the 9th inning, and hopefully the Rangers will tie it or go ahead.
Well, Canha steps in their right side. The first pitch, he rolls it foul. Today a double and a walk. And then struck out into the double play, as it were. Chavez trying to keep it a close game in this 9th inning. The 1-strike pitch. He was swinging. That one is lined into right field, a base hit. Gets Chapman home. Olson will drop anchor at second, and it's now a 6-3 Oakland lead.
Canha really waited on that breaking ball and drilled that ground ball into right field. Sharply hit RBI single. Second hit for Canha. It probably didn't get down and away as much as Jesse wanted it to, and you can tell by the contact Canha made that that was the case.
Couple of men on in front of Smolinski, and he'll foul this one away. You know, opening day, Oakland went extra innings with the Angels, and they ended up winning it in the bottom of the 10th inning, 6-5. That was now one of 3 wins that they have had this year in their final at bat, and they're trying tonight to pick up a 4th win in their final at bat. A tie game, untied here in the 9th. 1-1 to Smolinski. And should the A's figure out a way to win this thing, then they would get to over 500, trying to go to 12 and 11. Smolinski pops it up, foul ground, first base side, and that one is into the stands. Meanwhile, Tom
bounced and knocked the hat right off that kid.
Well, he's lucky that that's all it got. Almost took that one in the face. Here's the other thing, though, in this game tonight. Rangers, had this thing tied into this 9th inning, and you're thinking, hey, maybe tonight they win the opening game of a series. They have not done that yet this year. That's kind of amazing.
Sure
and frustrating.
Is. Yeah.
Time asked for and granted. One, two. And that'll even it up. Three runs into the 9th inning. A's took the lead in the 3rd. Rangers would come back eventually and tie it in the bottom of the 4th. 2-2 pitch, ground ball, third base. That one is a fair ball off of Beltre's glove and then rolling into no man's land. Olsen is in. They wave Canna. He'll score. And then heading to 3rd, Smolinski. 8-3 Oakland. When it rains, sometimes it just pours.
It's a slider down. It's Smolinski with 2 strikes. He's just guarding the plate. Takes a pretty good swing at it, though, and just keeps it fair barely down the left field line. Rolls to the tarp, and before Adrian can get it back in, 2 runs it scored.
Triple for Smolinski. Now here's Jonathan Lucroy, and he will take a strike. Lucroy has not had a big night at the plate, night in which his team has scored 8 runs on 13 hits.
And the homestand so far, the Rangers have been a little bit prone to the opponent having a big inning late in the ball game. Seattle had a couple of big innings late in those first 2 ball games, and here the A's have obviously had a big inning here in the 9th inning.
Yeah, the Rangers came home from a road trip where they went 500 to Houston and Tampa, and the bullpen was great as this one drops into center field, gets Smolinski home, makes it 9-3 Oakland. But this homestand, it has turned. The bullpen hasn't had anywhere near the success that they had on the road, and it's caused some problems. Here's a guy who started all the problems in this 9th inning. It was his home run to start the 9th, broke the tie, and began this huge rally, a 6-run rally at the moment. You get to the point where you start to think, well, go ahead then. Get it out of your system tonight. Score all your runs for the series tonight then. It's the 32nd pitch of the inning, and it's a ground ball to shortstop. Profar will go to second, and that ends it. But not before a 6-run 9th inning has given Oakland a huge lead. Last chance coming for the Rangers.
Rangers Live, presented by Fios by Frontier, on deck with Pudge and Mike. Gentlemen, what's on your mind?
Boy, we'll just talk about the tough ninth inning to start off, and we'll also look back at Matt Moore giving this team a good opportunity to win, Pudge.
Yeah, big two-run home run from Robinson Chirino. I think he needs that, hanging breaking ball. That was a good swing for him. So.
And how about the effort by Delino to Shields? 2 base hits, 2 stolen bases. It's all coming up after the game. Rangers Live, guys.
All right, thanks, Rick. We'll look forward to that. Hopefully, you guys will be talking about breaking down a miraculous comeback here in the 9th inning. Heart of the order, Nomar Mazara starting things off. That's Ryan Buchter, who came on and got the final out last inning. Finds a corner to Mazara. It's 1-1. Nomar, a hitless night. Takes outside, 2-1. Now certainly a spot here. Rangers need base runners. A lot of them. They're going to pull this one off tonight. Jeff Bannister remarking earlier today about this team and their fight. How really in pretty much every game, even in the losses, they seem to find a way to get that tying run to the plate or that on-deck circle. They have put pressure on opposing bullpens, but today it's going to take a big team effort to get that done. Full count. So in these spots, Tom, as a hitter, as a team, you're looking on, you say, okay, look, we just gave up 6 runs. It's going to take a lot of us getting this done. Is there a different type of approach that you take in a 9th inning here?
Well, there's definitely a different approach than if Simeon's home run was the only run that they scored in a 1-run game. There's obviously a different approach there, because if you hit a home run, the game's tied. In this kind of a game, when you're down by 6, you have to just take the mentality that we need base runners. Don't worry about the 6 runs. Let's get some base runners, sneak a couple of runs in, get the bases loaded, and then you might start thinking about a different approach. But right now, it's all about getting base runners. If you can work a walk, fine. If you can take one off the shoulder, fine. If you can bloop one in, fine.
Mazara worked the count, but eventually strikes out, and that's how we begin this bottom of the 9th inning. With that, Bob Melvin looking like he might make a change. Oh, so Buchter got his man. Now with a right-handed hitter coming up. Melvin into the pin. Hatcher, the new man. We'll be back in a moment. The Rangers. He continues to look at some mighty big names ahead of him. Cap Anson just 9 hits ahead of Beltre at the moment, 22nd on the all-time hit list. So inching ever closer, and that'll get him one more closer. Out to the alley in left field. Beltre turns first, will cruise to second as a 1-out double.
Well, Hatcher came in and says, I'm going to throw strike one with a 6-run lead. He tossed it up there at 94 miles an hour, and Adrian turned it around at more than 94 miles an hour. Fastball. Adrian just put a swing on it and shot it out to left center field.
Well, it was yesterday's game when he passed George Brett for the most extra base hits all time for a third baseman. Continues to set all sorts of historical marks, and now Joey Gallo 0 for 2 with a walk. And that is in. Listen, we get it. I mean, it's a little far-fetched, right? It's a 6-run deficit. Stranger things certainly have happened. This A's bullpen, though, has been far from perfect. Opposing hitters batting .278 against the A's pen. A's relievers have allowed 14 home runs. It's 2-0. So it goes back to what we were talking about. Hatcher, if he can just put a couple of guys on here, and you can see he's apparently done that a few times. ERA over 11.
.430 against him.
You never know. This one out to left field. That will drop in. Base hit and more. Beltre scores. Gallo goes to second. Back-to-back doubles off Hatcher. All right, 9-4.
Couple of ropes. Adrian's to left center, and Joey Gallo sliced that pitch on the low outer half of the plate. Nice swing. Just a bolt down the left field line. This thing takes one hop and smashes up against the wall where the groundskeepers are. .110 on that exit velocity the other way with a line drive. That's pretty impressive.
Bounce pass that time to Lucroy. Well, Hatcher's given up some hard contact. He goes 1-0 on Profar. Opening game of this series. Low strike, 1-1. Profar has a walk and then a comebacker that he turned into a single. That was in the 7th inning. It's in 5 straight games now, and it's this one high in the air out to right field, but it's going to hold up for Piscotty. 2 away, and Gallo tagging and moving up to third.
Well, we talk about Jurickson and how nice his at-bats have been, and this game is no exception. He has a well-hit base hit. He's got a walk, and then 2 balls just like this that he's hit to the outfield. Pitches to hit, good swings, and just gotten underneath them. Both of them hit to right field.
So the Rangers down to their final out. Robinson Chirinos homered earlier, 1 for 3. Takes a ball. Chirinos has a big day planned tomorrow, at least a big day for his family. His sister, you might recall the story earlier this year, at the end of spring training, seeking political asylum here in the United States. Tomorrow we'll have her hearing down in Houston. 1-1 the count. Chirinos visited his home in Venezuela this offseason. There are a lot of unsettling events down in that country, and specifically for his family. He's gotten most of the family here stateside, but now trying to keep them here. 1-1. And this one fouled over to the right side, out of play for strike 2. His sister and her husband, child, they were held at gunpoint in their own home. And it's what happens in some of these countries where they know that there's, let's just say, money in the family, right? Via Robinson's big league career. And so he's just trying to get everybody here. So tomorrow, very big day for his sister and his family. Let's see if they can keep her here in the United States.
It's too bad that it's gotten that way in Venezuela. I can remember, if you go back into the 70s, a lot of the Ranger players played over there in Venezuela, in Maracaibo. I played over there for 5 years, and it was a beautiful place to go. Family loved it there. Political unrest has turned it around in the other direction now, though.
Now Chirinos comes up empty here in the 9th inning. The Rangers score a run in the 9th, but fall short tonight, 9-4 in the first game of this series. Well, Rick Renner, Mike Bassick, and Pudge, they'll be right back to break this one down for you tonight. For Tom Grieve, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage of Rangers baseball continues right after this.